Shane, who, you know, I talked about Shane earlier when I was in the kitchen. You didn't hear that part, but I talked about how you and I are both in the same club where we married way over our head.
You're exactly right about that. I thought you meant our physical condition.
That's right.
Yeah, that wasn't it.
Yeah, that's right. So, and I also said that, this was a direct Shane Kasper quote. He said, people say that Shane has a restaurant. Shane doesn't have a restaurant. Angie has a restaurant.
That is true.
And I love the story here. Give us a little bit of the story of this place, how this all came to be.
I don't know a short story. You know that.
That's right. He's a preacher, so he doesn't know a short story.
This started out years and years ago with David Bubbas. And David decided one day he wanted to open an Italian restaurant. And I said, well, you're Greek. That's probably not going to work. And David said, no, we'll open one. So he went to Russellville and opened the first Italian Gardens, which most people may not remember, but it was beside where the J.C. Penney is at right now. And come on, Nita.
Look at this.
I have your fried trio here.
All right. Got the fried trio.
Your appetizer plates.
Thank you very
you.
much.
So-
You're welcome.
Interrupt your story. What's the sauces here? What do we
Yeah,
got?
you need to ask Angela about that.
Angela?
Actually, you can ask her.
Anita?
Yes, sir.
What's our sauces we got here?
We have our homemade ranch dressing.
I'm gonna need another one of those.
And we have our spicy mayo.
CheatMeal.
Charge you.
Yep.
Oh, charge him double.
An extra ranch for you?
That's right.
I'll be right back.
So, let me just interrupt you and talk
Go
about
ahead.
this right here. This is the fried cheese curds. They have homemade ranch they make right here in house, and a spicy mayo that they make right here. This is the sea salt and black pepper fries right here, and these are the onion.
Fried dill pickles.
Oh, these are fried dill pickles.
Yes. Yeah. Stay with us, Whit. Stay with us.
I'm good. Look, let's try and try that. Wow, this is good. That's good. So you talk, and I'll eat
You'll
these.
eat.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so he opened it up. I built the equipment for it, wired it up, and he opened beside the old J.C. Penney.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, it was a long, long time ago. And some kids from Pine Bluff named Wes and Suzanne Hall came in and bought it, and they could not tie their shoes in a restaurant. Since then, they have taken that concept to an unbelievable level with the pasta grills in Russellville and Conway. And if you've not been there, you need to go do it.
Right.
There. I worked for them for years. Spencer Roberts bought it. And then we bought the pasta grill from Wes and Suzanne down here at the bottom of the hill.
Right.
And we stayed there for 8 years until the rent got exorbitant. And when we closed down, that's kind of where this end of the story starts out. Angie, they speak of faith and great faith, and Angie has great faith, and I have faith. And so when we left, everybody from Clarksville, economic development, chamber of commerce, everybody kept calling saying, we want you back, we want you back. What they don't understand is there's a very thin margin in restaurants, and so rent and everything has a huge amount to do with
Right.
that. And so she kept saying, well, we'll find a place, we'll find a place. And a lot of time passed, and I had just about given up. There were so many things that played into it on the deal. When we got ready to close down, we had the problem of all the equipment. Had no idea what we were going to do with that. We have a customer that was eating there one night, and he said, hey, what are you going to do with your equipment? And I said, Dwayne, we don't know. Logistically, getting it back to Atkins was a nightmare. And he said, well, I bought a warehouse. He said, you can just put it in there. And I said, where is it? And he said, it's about 300 yards behind the restaurant. So over the course of 3 nights, Shane Anderson and Ricky Hunt and myself tore the whole restaurant apart, moved it into the storage there. We sat there and we waited and we waited. Everybody called. The community was phenomenal, but we just couldn't find the right fit. And I came in one day and Angie said the University of Ozarks has called and they'd like to talk to us about putting a restaurant on their campus. And I said, well, I'm almost certain that's not correct. And she said, no. She said, it's correct. And she said, they want us to go up and look at a building. And I said, okay, let's go. So we loaded up, and all the time knowing that it was not going to work.
Right.
So we drive up, and we're here at this WPA building.
Built in the 1940s.
Built in the 1940s, was, I
41.
believe, built for an elementary school, was the first pharmacy school that there was in the state of Arkansas. Phenomenal building, but when we walk in the door, what you see is over the years, they have just utilized it for whatever they needed, and
Right.
you can see all of that there's green variegated carpet on the floor and stuff nailed all over the walls. It was cut up into a lot of different rooms. And we're walking through it, and Angie's sitting there looking at everything, and I said, I don't know how you're going to make it ADA compliant. I don't know how you're going to get a vent hood in it in a cost-efficient way. I don't know how you're going to heat it. I don't know how you're going to cool it. And Jeff Scotcha, who was the guy with the university that was kind of spearheading it, had been used to dealing with intelligent people, and now he was having to deal with me. So he was just kind of looking at me, and we got done, and he said, can you get somebody else in here? What he wanted to say is, can you get by somebody smarter than this guy to look at it and make a decision? But he didn't. He said, can y'all get somebody else in to look at it? And I said, we can get somebody. Well, 25 years ago, God had put a man in my life. He had built the La Quinta Inn in Russellville, and they had called us when I worked for the fire department there and said, hey, could you come down here? We've got a problem. And it was a day before they opened, and when we walked in, there was water pouring out of every can light in the ceiling. And it was coming from the fire suppression system, and he thought the fire department had something to do with it. And I remember thinking he was as calm as he could be, and I thought if this was my hotel, I would probably not be this calm. Turns out he wound up a customer up here, and he was a contractor that we knew. So we called him and said, will you come look at it? When we walked out the door, she looked at me. I said, now, Angie, do not get excited because this is not going to work. And she just looked at me.
You're
and she
just
said,
a ray of sunshine.
I'm a ray. That's me. Right?
Yeah.
I am. She looked at me and she said, no. She said, this is where we're supposed to be. Never had a doubt in her mind. You know. So Ronnie and them came in. They brought an engineer and architect in. They looked at everything. They gave an estimate. And when we got the estimate, I told Angie, I said, now look, they're not going to spend that much money on that building. And she said, well, that's ray of sunshine. That's me and everything. Could you quit saying that? So anyway, so I try to call myself a realist is what it is,
That's right,
you know.
yeah.
But anyway, so I said, when they hear the number, this deal's going to be over with. So we had a conference call with him, and we were sitting in our living room, and he said, did you get a number? And I said, yes, we did. And I told him the number, and he said, have y'all got somebody that can do it? And I was like, wow, that wasn't a response actually. And Angie's got that look. You know when your wife has that look like I told you so?
I know it all too well, all
Yes.
the time.
So anyway, they came in. The initial idea was, since Angie had never been involved in any of this really before, that I was going to help guide the thing all along the way. And I honestly had never done one start to finish. Wesley Hall has always laid everything out, has always built all the furniture, done. Suzanne did the coordinate for the decoration and made the menus and everything. And I had always kind of helped a tiny bit behind the scenes, but never on the deal. Well, it turned out I didn't have to. A month went by, and another month went by, and another month went by, and I had not been up here. And Angie was dealing with the architects and the engineers and the college and the contractors and everything. And so finally she said one day, she said, would you just come up and make sure I'm not messing something up? And I said, I'm sure you're not, but I will. So I came in for about 45 minutes, made the astounding discovery that there were no drains in the kitchen. I said, we got to have some drains, and that's not simple with an architect and engineer. She was also dealing with the Historical Society,
Oh, I bet.
which limits what everybody can do. And so anyway, we come to a point, and this thing has flown by, and she said, we're ready to open. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding. And I mean, she had overcome every problem that we had had along the way. And we had just had, there were so many people. There's a family here called the Bradleys that have always done our heat and air for us. They came in and set up all the refrigeration and got it done. Like I said, the people that helped us tear it down, Ronnie Ashlock and them, were phenomenal, because anything that they could do for Angie, they would do, you know. And I think a lot of that has to do with, I think it all works together because Angie's heart is with the people, and it just, all that kind of coordinates together, and so the people are always with her.
Well, I said this before. This is not a job or a career. This is a calling, and you have the desire to make this a family and a home away from home. And we're excited to be here.
Well,
I'm already loving this food already, and I haven't even got to the big stuff yet.
Well, it gets better as it goes.
That's right. That's kind of like being you.
It's better. That's exactly
That's right.
So anyway,
Well, we're proud to be here.
do you are you ready for your next course?
Yeah, I'm
All right.
always ready.
Are you ready, Amy?
Thanks, brother.
I was getting refills.
Seriously.
Thanks, brother.
I wanna-
That's
If
perfect.
you need anything else, holler.
Yeah.
You did so good. I think that I
Let's go. I'm still gonna work.